much awaited US-Iran deal has finally been finalized, and this is where Pakistan has decided to come ahead and advertise that we got this done. PM Shehbaz Sharif has gone and tweeted that this has been announced. But the question here is, when we are looking at this particular deal, only the MOU has been signed. The signing remains left. The main contentious parts still need to be negotiated. So is this finally the incoming of peace for the Middle East and also US, or there is more that might unfold? So let us understand all of this. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session, we are not just going to talk about the finalization of this very deal between US and Iran, but also what has not been finalized and why that keeps more possibilities open. So let us try to understand all of this from scratch. So what exactly has been announced as of now? That US and Iran have agreed on a MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding, and the MOU also has not been signed yet. It will be formally signed in Geneva, Switzerland in the coming days. The specific date is June 19th of this very year. Now when we are talking about this MOU, what does it include? It includes ceasefire. It includes the fact that Strait of Hormuz, the biggest pain point, not just for these two countries but for the globe, that will be reopened, and the nuclear negotiations will take place. But that is something that is left for future. There is no finalization that has been talked about. Now the reason this is being so much talked about and so much celebrated also in a way, because this was something that was not only disturbing the whole of West Asia but also the globe, and this is a huge diplomatic development if you are trying to understand the recent scenarios, and you can draw it as a parallel as compared to the 2015 Iran nuclear deal that was signed. And probably, if everything goes right, this can actually reshape the regional security and also, most importantly, the global energy markets. Now let us straight up move to understand what exactly has been finalized in this MOU. So the major provisions of this very peace deal include that there will be an immediate ceasefire, and an important part here is permanent. Previously, when ceasefire was declared, it was not permanent, it was for the negotiations to take place. This time it is being claimed as permanent. Furthermore, end of all sort of military operations that are happening, including Lebanon front. Because when we are talking about this Iran-US war situation, this was not just between them. It affected all the Gulf countries. Iran had activated its axis of resistance, and Houthis were creating huge problem in the Lebanon front. So all of this needs to be paused. US will remove their naval blockade on the Iranian ports. Strait of Hormuz will be opened from both ends. Neither Iran nor US is going to block it. And the frozen assets of Iran worth $24 billion, they will be released. Apart from that, the sanctions which were placed on Iran oil exports, there will be partial sanctions as of now, and there has been a 60-day roadmap. That means 2 months worth of roadmap that how the nuclear negotiations are going to take place. This all looks very positive, but the problem here is two very contentious things are not included. First, Iran's missile program, because this was the very reason the war began. And if this has not been discussed, it is not part of the understanding, there is a possibility, bigger possibility of fallout. And second, the regional proxy network discussions. Because when we are talking about proxy network, we have to understand that Iran holds the power in this term, the axis of resistance, be it in form of Houthis, Hamas, ISIS, and so much more. Iran still would not want to dismantle this network. US would not appreciate the presence of this network. So what happens next? So these are not two random points that have been left out. These are two excessively contentious points that have been left out. So as of now, this seems like that what has been finalized, the whole idea is that we want to end the war first, rest we will discuss. Let's open the Strait of Hormuz, let's give some relief to the world and to West Asia, and we will negotiate. Yes, it comes as a huge news, as a huge relief, but at the same time, this remaining open leaves it to difficult possibilities coming up again up in the future. Now that we have understood that what has been finalized, another important factor here is who has finalized this. So when we look at the parties who have helped this, the first name we have here is Pakistan. Pakistan has been the one who has facilitated the back channel diplomacy. They were the one to coordinate the indirect talks, and they were the first one to announce the breakthrough. As if this credit was very important to their global image, the only saving grace as of now, because what else is for Pakistan which is running down in shambles. So as of now, Pakistan showed that they led from the front, but not so much. It was Qatar, other Gulf countries which were also heavily affected, be it Saudi, be it UAE. So Qatar hosted the negotiations. Qatar was responsible for building trust between parties, and they facilitated the final communication channels, which has resulted in the finality of this Memorandum of Understanding. You might be thinking that if we are looking for another name, why India has not stepped into this situation? Your answer here is the fact that India here, just for recognition in the name of the fact that they have brokered this, does not want to spoil all the ties they have with US, they have with Iran, they have with Israel, and they have with Gulf countries. And you also have to remember that India has never been a historic mediator. India never believed in meddling with others' problem. They have talked about negotiations, they want the solution, but they don't want to enter and hold hands and bring the people to the table, and they have never done this. But this time it was way more complicated than that. It was complicated because in any situation, running between all of this is so fragile. If at all anybody was left out, let's just say Iran. Iran has our Chabahar Port. Iran has our ambitions of INSTC. Iran gives us the connectivity to Central Asia. We import from Iran, and we have had historic relations with them. US strategic partner, Israel defense export diplomatic relations, Gulf countries, so much more. These are the main things I am talking about, but the ties run way deeper with all of them here. So India did not want to risk this in a situation just to get the name like Pakistan has tried to in this particular situation. Apart from that, when we are talking about diplomacy, we also have other facilitators such as Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Switzerland, because this is the venue for signing, and this shows that how the regional powers have come through to ensure that regional diplomacy marks and ensures the end of military escalation. This clearly demonstrates that the increasing role of middle powers in conflict resolution is increasing. That means high order powers are not the ones who will make the decisions coming in. For example, when this war began, there were a lot of eyes on Russia, there were eyes on Europe, multiple countries, China, but they might have had backhand into it, but the front runners were the middle powers in this very situation. Now another question here is what this leaves India with in terms of consequences. This is also a good news for India. India does not has to heavily balance the parties around, and India also will be benefit from the energy security gains, economic benefits such as finally lower crude oil prices, which were hurting our import bill, which were hurting our finances, and it will also lower the inflationary pressures, because as of today our wholesale price index has touched unprecedented 9.1%, sending out alarm bells. So probably this will put off those very alarm bells. Apart from that, we will also have strategic benefits. Chabahar Port, our long-term project that might improve prospects for that. INSTC, improved prospects for that. And the diplomatic advantage that we finally might be able to balance them in a conflict-rid environment, not conflict-prone environment. Because the de-escalation automatically reduces the excess diplomatic balancing that India needed to do to ensure that our ties are not destroyed with any of the given parties. So in coming times, we are expecting regional stability for West Asia. We are expecting that we have stable energy markets, economic recovery, revival of the trade routes because Strait of Hormuz will be open now, and better and honest nuclear diplomacy as well. But at the same time, there are challenges that do remain. US-Iran mistrust is not just that has born this year, it has been there for decades. And we cannot forget that how Israel wants to fuel the fire between US and Iran, because that gives an advantageous end to Israel, which wants to wipe out the existence of Iran altogether. So yes, this MOU is a positive step, but the implementation risks remain. What will unfold, we have to see. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be leaving you here with the prelims practice question. Let me know the answer to this in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your answers. Now this is the question for you. I hope you can see the question. Let me know the answer to this. Thank you so much.